Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Hollabec, and today, since I have all of this extra time, I'm going to try making some cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to be following a recipe that I found on a blog called Peas in Their Pod. I'm going to link it down below in case you want to make these as well. But the yield on this recipe is like 2 full pans of cinnamon rolls, and it's just Jordan and me, and we don't need that much. So I'm going to attempt to half this, and we all know how well that normally goes for me. So the very first thing is we have to activate the yeast. Now the recipe calls for 2 packs. I just have 1 pack here. So I'm going to need half a cup of lukewarm water and then half a teaspoon of sugar to help activate it. So here is the water and the sugar and the yeast. And then I'm just going to stir this up a little bit, and then it needs to sit for 5 minutes until it starts to activate. It's been about 5 minutes now, and the yeast is getting all frothy and weird smelling, which is how we know it's ready. So I have here 1 cup of hot water, and I'm going to add in now 4 tablespoons of butter and a half cup of sugar, and then I'm going to mix it all together. Next, we need to mix in 1 cup of flour. And throughout this recipe, I'm going to be doing kind of a mix of regular white flour as well as some whole wheat flour. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I'm excited to see. Next, I need to mix in 2 eggs. And now I need to pour this mixture into my yeast mixture. Alright, so now I need to add in the remaining flour. So the recipe calls for 9 cups, but we're halving that, so I need 4.5. I already did my 1 cup, so I need 3.5 more cups of flour. So I'm going to do 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour, and then the other 2 cups I'm going to do in white flour. So there is 1.5. And before I add the white flour, I want to get this all stirred up. And here is 1 cup of the white flour. I'm going to mix that and then add the other cup. Ah, no! I just added the last of the flour. I need to finish mixing it up, and then I'm going to start kneading it. The recipe actually calls for you to do this with a stand mixer, but I don't bake enough for that to be a relevant purchase for me. I need to stand up. As I'm kneading this, I'm adding a little bit of flour as I go until it's not really sticky. I mean, you don't want to make it too dense, but you also won't be able to work with it if it's sticking to everything. So here she is. Ignore the mess around her, okay? Art is pain. And a mess, apparently. So now we need to let her rise, and here's what I normally do, guys. So I have preheated my oven. It's at 300 right now. And I like to stick my rising doughs down here in this bottom drawer because it's still really warm without being super hot, and that way it gives like a nice warm environment for it to rise. Hey look, everything's clean now. So while that's rising, I am gonna mix up the filling, which is just brown sugar and cinnamon. Oh, my brown sugar is getting hard. So I'm gonna need 3/4 cup of brown sugar. So here is 1, 2, and 3. And then I need 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And I'm just gonna use a small fork to mix it together. And even halved, this looks like a lot. Ugh. My brown sugar is so hard. You guys have any tricks for softening brown sugar. I've heard of some, like putting bread in the bag or like an apple slice, which I don't know if I'd want to put anything that was actually juicy in the bag. So yeah, let me know if you know any tips or tricks. All right, that's probably about as good as I'm gonna get it. There's still like little nuggets in here. You can't see that. So I think when I end up layering this on, there's just gonna be little flavor bombs. All right, so I just need to finish letting the dough rise. And once that's finished, we can move on to the next step. So it's about an hour and a half later. And yay, she's about double in size. So I think this is close enough. I'm gonna take her out and we're gonna move on to the next part. So I have here in front of me some parchment paper with some flour on it, as well as my greased 9x13 pan. And I'm just gonna dump this dough out right onto the parchment paper. So the first thing that I need to do is, well, first of all, to lightly flour my rolling pin. And then I'm gonna flour the top of this dough as well. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Barely. And now I just need to roll this out into a rectangle. Gosh, this is a lot of dough, guys. This is with a halved recipe. Who makes this much cinnamon rolls? So I have it rolled out to about the size of the parchment paper. And I still feel like it's so thick, but I don't have any more room to work. So they're just gonna be really, really thick cinnamon rolls. So now I have some softened butter over here and my spreader. So I just need to spread some of this butter on it and then we can add on the topping. All right, she's all buttered and now I gotta add in the topping. This smells so good. Now it's time for the intimidating part, and that's rolling it. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little scared. So let's just dive into it, because that's pretty much how I tackle life. I don't really plan, I just do it. So far, so good. Holy cow, this isn't too terrible. Wow, this is quite the log. All right, it's time to slice her up. So I'm gonna be using, I have like a dough cutter here, and that should work perfect. So I'm actually not sure how thick to make these. Maybe about 2 inches. That's what we're going for. Yay! They got mildly squished from the cutting, but I think once they rise again, they're actually gonna be really great. Yeah, I'm so excited! Let's put them in the dish now. So they're supposed to be a couple inches apart, and if that is the case, I'm not gonna be able to fit them all in this pan. So I'm just gonna do my best. I think I'm gonna try and fit 4 to a row. That sounds good to me. I may have made some of these a little too thick. All right, I got an extra little guy. I gotta squeeze him in here somewhere. There we go. So here they are in their pan, and the second part is more sitting because I have to let them rise again. So I'm gonna put them back in my stove drawer, and we'll check on them again in a couple hours. It's been a little over an hour so far, and look at how much they've risen already, like quite a bit actually. Like I have these huge ones here like this guy, and then of course the little ones that were the end pieces. But I think that's probably good enough to start baking. So I have the oven set to 350, it's already preheated. And the recipe said, depending on the size of them, it would need to bake anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, which is quite the time span. So I'm just gonna bake them for 20 minutes and we'll check on them and see how they're doing. So while that's baking, I wanna make up the icing. And the icing recipe that they had with the cinnamon rolls was just a basic icing, but I wanna do a cream cheese icing because it's so much better. So I have already 8 tablespoons of butter, which has been softened. I have 3 tablespoons here of cream cheese, which I think I'm gonna soften in the microwave. I'm gonna need 2 tablespoons of milk, 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then just a small pinch of salt. So I'm gonna start by warming up the cream cheese for like 20 seconds. Ouch! Next I'm gonna add in the butter. which is really soft. And I'm gonna mix these together really, really well. Next, I'm gonna mix in 2 tablespoons of milk. So there's 1 and 2. And my 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Next, I have a small pinch of salt. And we need 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar. So here is a 1/2, 1, and another 1/2. And here is the finished icing. That actually made a lot, but that's fine because I really like icing. I know Jordan does too. Alright, so now we just need to wait until those are done baking, and then we can ice them, and then we can eat them. I don't know why I said that so obnoxiously. I'm just excited. Alright guys, here they are. They look so good. I'm so excited. I can't wait for Jordan to try them. They smell absolutely incredible. I'm gonna cry. So yeah guys, I really hope that you try this recipe for yourself. It wasn't as complicated as I thought it was going to be. The big thing, it's just time consuming. But it's not like you have to be standing there waiting for the dough to rise. You can walk away and do other things. So it's a really great multitasking kind of recipe, if you know what I'm saying. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to do some baking of your own. It's such a great stress reliever. And then you get something delicious to eat afterwards. So if you enjoyed this video, of course, leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you've not already. I have a very large goal to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. It seems unachievable, but I think we can do it. And that said, guys, I will see you the next time around.